Hi, welcome back. And in this episode, we are going to make homemade ketchup and homemade tomato paste out of cherry tomatoes. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, friends. It's ketchup. I really made ketchup. I did it. And I did it with you. Welcome to Seeds to Sanctuary. Thanks for joining. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, why don't you consider joining the fun and joining the fam? Hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it. Thank you. Also, if you've missed my series, Souptember, I suggest that you check out these really great videos. I will list them up right here on the screen. But in today's video, we have tomatoes galore to be handling, and also we have tons of peppers. For our Every Little Bit Counts challenge today, we are going to make homemade ketchup and cherry tomato paste. So the first things that we're going to start with, friends, is we are going to cut all of these cherry tomatoes in half and take the stem off of them. I washed them up last night, and then I'm going to line them up on my dehydrator. I'm going to dehydrate them for about 12 hours, and then we're going to pulse them up in our food processor, make them into a nice powder, and then can that. And the reason why I like to do that is because if you ever need to add a thickener to your spaghetti sauce or any other recipe that calls for tomato paste, all you do is add your dehydrated cherry tomato powder, or you can use your Roma tomatoes or your sliced tomatoes, and then you just literally add that powder into your food that you're preparing, and it thickens it up. It's super easy, and it's also a way not to waste all those cherry tomatoes that by the end of the season, most people are like, oh my gosh, if I see another cherry tomato. You know what I mean? How about that soup yesterday? I don't think I'm going to be able to beat that, friends. It was so good. And can I tell you a little confession? It was the first time I ever made it. I told you I'm one of those people that like to cook by sight, taste, and smell, use all the senses. Well, I was planning on just making a shrimp bisque, and the only time I've ever made bisque is this past summer, this summer that we're just leaving right now. My husband and I, we went to Maine, and what does Maine offer that's the best? It shouldn't really be a question. It is their fresh seafood. It is their lobster. And the price is phenomenal during season in Maine. So instead of going to restaurants and such there, because it does add to the price, we go to our local wharf and we buy a whole bunch of lobsters, and I cook it up in every way you can think of. I'll put pictures from our family vacation and all of the lobster goodness that I made while we were there. Some of these were starting to split, but that's okay, because we're just gonna dehydrate them anyway. Okay, friends, so we got all of our cherry tomatoes cut up. I am now gonna put these in the dehydrator, and we'll catch back up with these in about 12 hours to make that paste. Okay, friends, so let's make some ketchup. It's my first time making ketchup, so let's be brave together. I've scoured the internet for the best recipes, and to be honest, you really don't know if a recipe is going to match your taste buds until you try it. So I'm going to do a small batch of better than Heinz ketchup. according to the recipe. We'll do a taste test and I'll let you know. What I'm going to do is just use the random tomatoes that I have left in these bags after cutting those up and starting to dehydrate them for the powder. This is going to be a long process, so we're in it for the haul. I'm going to cut these tomatoes up and I'm going to put them in my pot. And this is probably going to take about 3 hours to thicken up and condense down. You don't have to use just Roma. You don't have to use just slicing tomatoes. Some people have different taste. I've made spaghetti sauce with straight cherry tomatoes. And it was before I had an immersion blender or anything like that. And I would pulse it up and then run it through a mesh strainer to get most of the seeds out. But to me, the texture isn't necessarily as important as the flavor. I do have one of those tomato strainer things. I just got one. The Squeezo, I believe it's called. And I will be trying that. I'm not knocking that way. I'm just saying, if you want to make some quick, lazy tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce, throw these little tomatoes in a crock pot and let them cook with the lid off for hours on low. Like, set it and forget it. Come back to it in about 6 or 8 hours. And, or also depending on the volume of tomatoes that you have in there. I mean, you don't want to wait 6 hours if you only have like a couple cups in there. But they will cook down just nice. And then while it's cooking down, I throw all of my spices in there. So then when I do blend it up in the blender, it's already infused. All of those tomatoes are infused. So I throw my onions and my peppers and any heat that I want to add in, hot peppers, my garlic, you name it. I throw it in there. And it is delicious. It's easy. You should give it a try. If you're interested in that, leave me a comment and I'll give you the recipe if you'd like it in more detail. Doesn't it look so pretty? I love growing stuff, guys. I love it. I love it. I loved growing my babies. And I love growing a garden. I'm going to save these ones and not put them in there because those lemon drop cherry tomatoes, they're so sweet and so delicious. They hardly make it inside. Must be close to lunchtime, it is. Okay, now that we got our tomatoes, I'm just going to put them on to simmer on low, and I'll bring you over. So we have been letting our tomatoes simmer down for about 40 minutes already, and I'm going to have it go a little bit more, about an hour or so, and then we're going to get our immersion blender. Look how beautifully, friends, our tomatoes are simmering down. We'll check back in here in a few minutes.
Tomorrow.
All right, friends, so it's the next day. It's a beautiful day here in Ohio, and all of our cherry tomatoes that we sliced up and put in our dehydrator are now dehydrated. So we're going to go and put them in our blender and pulse them up and make them into a powder, and then we can use this powder as a substitute for tomato paste. Pretty cool, right? going to pulse them up. Okay, now that they're all pulsed up, we have this cherry tomato paste, and it's beautiful, and you can put it in whatever dish that you like that calls for paste. It also truly smells like gummies. It smells so good. I don't know if it was the type of cherry tomatoes that I grew. I grew a lemon cherry tomato, a grape cherry tomato, and a black beauty this year, and they smell so good. Okay, so yesterday we put our tomatoes on to simmer and go down. I already started some of the process where you take these tomatoes and you put it through a strainer to get your tomato juice. And this is what we're going to make our ketchup out of. So I'm going to take you along the process of putting the reduced tomatoes in here to push out the rest of the juice. And then we're going to get to making that ketchup. I'm so happy that you guys are joining me today, friends. This is complete experimental. I have never made ketchup, so I figured, why not give it a go, give it a test, try it out. You never know. That's the funnest part of preserving your own food, is figuring it out. But I did learn a great big lesson with all of my pickles. I made probably 12 16-ounce jars of pickles, dill pickles, because I love dill pickles. And they did come out beautifully crunchy, but way too vinegary and not too much dilly. And I love dill. So I decided this time I'm just gonna experiment with the flavors and try a small batch. And if it tastes good, then make more. So less is more in certain circumstances. So I'm just going to take our tomato paste, our reduced tomatoes, and I'm going to push it through this strainer and have the juice come out. And once I get all of the juice out, I'm going to add this juice back into my pot, and I'm going to put my seasonings in it, and then we're going to let it simmer a little bit longer and thicken up, and we'll see what great taste we get out of it. So I was driving the boys to school this morning, and my son said, "Mom, I love my life." And I literally started tearing up, because those are the best words that this mama can hear. Not only did I struggle with infertility for 7 years and loss of babies in order to be blessed with these two, I had a really rough childhood, and I'm super grateful that my baby is loving every second of his, and that just warms my heart. It makes my soul happy. It makes me know that I'm doing everything I can to provide them the best life that I can. Also, if you have any kids or grandkids and they like Lunchables, I don't even know how you guys are affording them right now. My sons came home from school yesterday and they said, "Mom, could we have some Lunchables in our lunch?" And I was like, "Why? Don't you like the lunches Mommy are making?" And they said, "Yeah, but some of our friends get Lunchables." And I said, "Are you feeling left out?" And they said, "No, you pack us such good lunches. Most of the kids want our lunches." And I said, "Okay, well, if you really want some Lunchables that bad, in the morning we'll go and I'll get you guys a Lunchable for each one of your lunch." Boy, did I about fall over when I saw the prices of these Lunchables. They have literally doubled. Sorry, my cat Indy's trying to make an appearance. They have literally doubled the price in 2 years. I know it's been a while since I bought them, because I was trying to scale back and see what extra things we didn't really need. Not because we couldn't afford it, but you can kind of see where things are going, right? Well, anyway, I get in there and they want almost $4 for a Lunchable. I was like, boys, I love you. You deserve this, and this is a treat. But my goodness, this is not happening again until they get these prices on check. You know what I mean? Oh no, I dropped some in there. Could you make ketchup without doing all this straining? It would be a little bit seedier. Some don't like that texture. I'm just gonna try it this way. Why not? Yeah, just give it a try. I really love growing this stuff and learning how to cook with it. So that's really cool. Wait a minute. Pause. Look at this asparagus noodle that I picked from my garden this morning. There's not much, it's not growing as fast as it was because the days are getting shorter and colder, but how cool is this long green bean? I just love it. I love growing it. So cool. All of the extra tomato skins and all of the rest of this stuff that I am not going to use for the ketchup that I drained all the juice from, I'm not going to get rid of this, but I'm going to put this in the dehydrator and dehydrate this and add it to my tomato powder. Now we got all of our juice back in here and we are about to add our spices. Apple cider vinegar, French's yellow mustard, cayenne pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And then we're gonna test it and make sure, our taste buds are dancing, they're happy. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put our tomato sauce, so that's what it is right now. The stove scares me every time. Okay, so now that I have it on and I didn't blow up my kitchen, I'm gonna put it on medium heat right now while I'm adding my spices, and I'm going to add about a quarter cup apple cider vinegar. Add about 2 tablespoons of French's mustard. 2 tablespoons of garlic or onion powder. 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. A half teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm going to add a quarter teaspoon of ground clove. And then I'm going to give this a stir and let it simmer for a little bit longer. And then we're going to do the taste test, and then if it needs anything more or hopefully not less. But like I said, experimenting in your kitchen is so much fun. Give it a try. You never know what kind of flavors that you will come up with, what favorite flavor profiles that you are even in love with yet, unless you try. Sure, mistakes are going to happen. Sure, it might not always be the most perfect product, but you've learned from that, and the next one will be, or will be closer to, So let's give this a stir. I'm going to let all these flavors kind of just infuse in this for a little bit, let it simmer without the lid on to evaporate the extra moisture out. And then we are going to give it a good taste test, immersion blend it if it needs it, and then slap it on some hot dogs or hamburgers. Okay, friends, it's looking like ketchup. Look at that. I've let it reduce down for another 15 minutes, and I think we are about to the ketchup consistency, and then we're about to give it a taste. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I appreciate you guys so much, and I can't wait to see you on my next upload. Okay, friends, so I did just give this a tad little bit of a taste, and I decided that I'm going to add a little bit of brown sugar to it. And I'm going to let that simmer in there for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to give it a final taste test at our table, and yeah, I'll let you know all about it. Of course, you know that, my friends. All right, my lovely friends, we just made ketchup. Can you believe it? We made ketchup. I cannot believe that I'm sitting here right now with all of you, and I just made my very own ketchup for the first time. It's still pretty hot, so I'm gonna give it a little taste test, let you know how it is. Is it better than Heinz? I don't know yet. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, friends. It's ketchup. I really made ketchup. I did it. And I did it with you. Wow. I don't know if it's better than Heinz, but it is enough to make my heart sing. So thank you so much for coming along. I appreciate it. Until next time, bye for now. Seriously, homemade ketchup. I can't believe it. I did that. We did that. Look at that beautiful ketchup. I think I'm going to be grilling up some hamburgers on the grill tonight. Wow.